Hello, and welcome to day 2 of the ASOR CHI Symposium, Cultural Heritage Initiatives in Africa Today. My name is Darren Ashby, and I am the Cultural Heritage Programs Manager at ASOR. Before we begin, I want to remind everyone that this event has simultaneous translation in English, French, and Arabic. To hear the best language for you, please click on Interpretation at the bottom of the Zoom program and choose your language. The button has a planet or globe symbol on it. The symposium is organized by ASOR's Cultural Heritage Initiatives, or ASOR CHI. ASOR CHI celebrates its 10th anniversary this year. From its beginning, ASOR CHI has supported the protection, preservation, and promotion of cultural heritage in Southwest Asia and North Africa through close collaboration with cultural heritage professionals, academics, and civil society members living in the region. Today's session, Cultural Heritage in the Maghreb, is the perfect example of that collaboration. The session will be divided into 2 parts. The first part will consist of pre-recorded talks by each presenter. After this, we will have a discussion led by our session moderator. As you listen to the talks, please submit any questions in the Q&A chat at the bottom of the Zoom program. Our moderator today is Professor Ratiba Rigalma. Dr. Rigalma is a professor at Ibn Zohri University, specializing in archaeology and heritage. She is a graduate of the National Institute of Archaeology and Heritage and a former department head at the Moroccan Ministry of Culture. Professor Rigalma has published several articles on archaeology and heritage and has participated in seminars at the national and international level. Finally, before I turn things over to Professor Rigalma, I want to say Eid Mubarak to all of our Muslim colleagues and audience members. We at ASOR wish you and your families all the best for the rest of the holiday. Thank you again for being here, and I yield the screen to Professor Rigalma.
Peace be upon you, everyone. Eid Mubarak. This is a pleasure to be with you today. It is a pleasure to be with you today, to meet you electronically or virtually. It is the pleasure to work with ASOR and with the CHI and their great work in North Africa and Sahel. We have a 3-day workshop from the 11th to the 13th of April. This is the second day of this event or workshop or symposium. We are gathering together or bringing together all the professionals and academics and those who are specialized at this topic in a way to make sure that this work is going to achieve its goals and objectives. We wish you all the best. And the first session will be from Lady Awatef Bahroun from Manuba University to discuss the imperiled Jewish cemetery of Suleiman village in Tunisia. We wish you all the best of luck watching her presentation.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Awatef Bahroun. I am a PhD holder in the sciences of heritage, and my presentation is about the dispersion of the cemetery, Jewish cemetery in Slimane in Tunisia. Within the framework of my PhD research that was allocated in the north part of Tunisia, we have a lot of advantages. It is with the presence of a Jewish community in the city of Slimane, which is ignored and not known by most of the citizens. Here you can see a photo on the left. It is the map of Gabon. It is on the northwest of Tunisia, and Slimane is one of a part of the region. And you can see here the situation of the cemetery, the Jewish cemetery that is surrounded by You can see here the blue area. You can see here a factory, and the area is around 2,000 square meters. And after the testimony of citizens, they said that the cemetery was quite larger than its actual situation. And since the presence of the Jewish was quite quite more important than the one which is when we compare it to today. But on March 2022, I decided to speak to the Association of the Heritage of Slimane with the presence of the Vice President, Mr. Walid Znidi, and he facilitated the visit on the field, and he was quite um, helpful. My first visit was quite difficult. We saw a lot of graves that have been destroyed, and the situation was quite disadvantageous. You can see here the situation, and a person were looking for valuable objects, and they were trying to find something in this cemetery, and it can open a lot of signification, and we will try to unveil the original features. As a PhD holder of the heritage in the lab of Manuba University, I worked in the university, and I benefited from a training from ASOR, excuse me, and I was trying to gather data from the historic sites, and from my interest for the cemetery of Slimane by ASOR, it is going to be the core of a deep study, the field visit. We started in October 2022, the first visit, and it has been a meeting between a member of ASOR and the Association of Preserving the Heritage of the City of Slimane. Among the persons that were present, a member of the association, Mr. Mohammed Ghrab, gave us an idea about what happened before in Slimane, and he spoke about how the Jewish and the Tunisians and Muslims were living together in a great atmosphere. And the second visit took place on December 2022. Three persons gathered, three stakeholders gathered in the cemetery, ASOR, University of Manuba, and the associations, in order to prepare a strategy, and we spoke about funding, trying to find the limits of the area, and preparing a fence and or installing a fence in order to preserve it. And then we have been working on a campaign of cleaning of the cemetery with the participation of the SCUD, which is the local office of Slimane, and also with participants of member of ASOR. And here you can see Musfa from the association and other members of the labs. You can see Mrs. Fetton here with us. In parallel, we had a training session that was it was organized by Mrs. Hanan Sharaf and other members of the association. At this level, I started to work on a specific technical mission by preparing an individual flyers with a presence of a member of the association, Mr. Mohammed Aziz, in order to have the map of the cemetery and all the information linked to the persons buried over there. So it is a field work in order to fill the applications that have given by ASOR. And then after further to that, Mr. Daniel, he is a director of the Jewish religious school in Tunis. He gave us an idea about which is written on each grave, and we try to translate it from Hebrew into Arabic. And the third visit took place in May 2023 within the framework of the preparation for a third visit of a member of ASOR and the other members from Sub-Saharan Africa, and also a training on air photos. We worked on cleaning the cemetery in order to be able to work and to take all the measures of the graves. This measures allowed us to discover something that has been hidden. A training on a training that has been made by Mr. John Stannard, and it has been funded by American stakeholders, and they tried to explain some written texts on the graves. And the last mission took place in August 2023. A lot of children of the neighborhood has been fascinated by our activities, and they benefited from training, and they participated in our activities. Our future orientation is to ask for the administrations in order to limit the area and to establish an authorization from the municipality of Sliman, and we are going to try to install a fence in order to facilitate another stage of documentation and research. As a conclusion, and within this presentation, this area is a rare area that still exists in Tunisia. It is the testimony of a community that has been present in the country. Protecting such a cemetery will keep the memory of its inhabitants. They left their country. Thank you for your attention.
Hi everybody, I'm Jamal. I'm from Cartagena, and this is a Tunisian association that works on preserving and promoting Tunisian material and immaterial heritage. Today I'm going to speak about documenting indigenous heritage as a tool for connected Tunisian minority. During this session, I will expose the work that we have been doing for the last 3 years on documenting minority heritage, then how that's lead to creating links between different communities. The new challenges we started to face during this phase of project, and what's next. During the last before speaking about, let's have like a summary of the minority that we have been working on it during the last years. In Tunisia, we have mainly ethnic and linguistic minority, which is the Amazigh. That's the native people of Tunisia, and today they represent a minority when we consider the people that still speak the language. I'm proud to be one of that minority that still exists, that still speak our native language. And also we have the Tunisian that are issued from sub-Saharan country that has been being to Tunisia since the first human civilization that has been here, especially with the Phoenician starting from 1100 BC, and for different centuries then they kept bringing essentially people from sub-Saharan country as a slave, as a beginning then starting from 1846 when the Bey of Tunis, the King of Tunis, decided to abolish slavery. So these people started to be seen as free men, equal, but they are still considered as a minority in the country. The second main group of minority are the religious minority, including Muslims, for the Ibadi, the Shia, the Hanafi. That's small groups of different school of thinking of Islam, compared to majority, which is the Malikite school of thinking in Tunisia, which are also Sunnah. Then we have the Jewish, the Christian, the Baha'i, and one of, for example, the things, or the hard thing in Tunisia, for example, is we don't know the exact number, for example, of Tunisian Christian, because of the station. There are a lot of them are afraid to express themselves, to say that only they are a Christian. For the Baha'i also, we don't have exactly the number of the community. During our documentation project, we was able to document more than 200 sites for different minority group, including a lot of ones that are endangered or disappear or has been already disappeared. And we try to take as much as possible photo for these buildings, and we have more than 10,000 photo that has been made for different sites. And if you can look in this place, there is some example of the treatment we was able to do with the photo we collected for two main example. For example, here to the right we have an old mosque from Jirba, an old Ibadit mosque from Jirba, which part of it started to collapse, but it's considered in good shape or good situation compared to many others. And to the left we have an old church from Jezelbeh, which is in the northwest of Tunisia, in Beja exactly, which now it's abandoned since the independence, and also many parts are now used as shops or coffee shops. Like we can see, that's the one with the green and the red signs, front signs in the picture there. And this the documentation work helped us to collect a lot of pictures and to do the kind of 3D modelization. That also was very good to see, because also we was able to show this to everyone that helped us, or everyone that at the beginning was, when we started to contact this minority, the main question was why you are doing this, what's the purpose. But then when they see the pictures, they see the building from every side, they are amazed with the work, and they start to know that this can be very helpful, not only for them but for everyone that are interested in preserving this human heritage for everyone. Creating links, mainly through public events. Cartagena has held different events to present and to enable people to discover other minority, and also minority to discover to connect them with other minority. For example, in this of some picture, there is, for example, to the left, a picture of a tour that we have done for a group of people, and we still also do many tours, especially in Cartagena. And in our historical tours, when we go to the Medina of Tunis, we always include every minority part. Also, was able to organize or to celebrate the Amazigh year, the beginning, which is 13th January of each year. So with the community, we organize an event to conference to which we invited a lot also of other community, Jewish, Christian, to assist at the event and to discover other minorities in Tunisia. Also, we offer them a show to know about all the old traditional clothes and the history of the Amazigh community. We held also an event in Jerba during the pilgrimage, and in one of the pictures then you see it is a graffiti that was dated between ASOR and Cartagena in Jerba by a member of the sub-Saharan minority in Tunisia, and in which she tried to collect different elements from the different minorities just in Jerba, the Ibadit, the Jewish, and this is shown in the middle of Jerba downtown in Hout Souk. Also, we take part and we try to have also a lot of private conversation, especially in this case between the Jewish and the Ibadite community in Jerba and the Amazigh in Duret. I was able also during the last pilgrimage of Jewish in Tunisia during May, the Ghariba pilgrimage, was able to connect Duret women, Amazigh women, with Jewish women. And for some hours, they was there talking about the common tradition that they have, both of them, in the cookings, the clothes, the language, and that was a good opportunity. Also in this picture, you see down how there were some of these events that was held also in Germany at the same times. The new challenges that we are going to face now. One of the problems now is the vandalism act that is raising on minority heritage, as we can see in the pictures. The natural disaster, and I think everyone is aware, for example, what happened in Libya, in Darna or in Morocco, that led to destroy a large part of common heritage for the different community. And nowadays, with all the climate change, I think no country is far from this risk. Also, one of the main reason is geopolitical situation and impacts now that's leading minority with all what's happening in Palestine, in Gaza, and all that war and attacks. Minority in our Arab countries are facing also threat because of the situation, because of what is seen as the West basis toward one side of the world against another. So that's also a new challenge, a new risk that we have to deal with when working, when trying to contact the minority, or trying to preserve its coming heritage for Tunisia. Also, the rise of extremism in different regions, the war that is escalating everywhere, not only in the Middle East, but the war of Ukraine or any other place. Extremism also in our country. So that's also one of the risks and one of the challenges we need to deal with when working on documenting the minority heritage. Also, one also the things, it's the accessibility to more adequate technical tools. As you have been seeing, a lot of buildings are in very bad situation, a lot of buildings are in narrow alley like the one to this picture to the right. And in certain cases, we need much more adequate technical tools to deal with it. For example, drones to take pictures for all the buildings, for the 3D modulation there. And in Tunisia, for example, one of the problems, it's too hard to have a drone, and then to have it already, then if you have to work with it, you need a license for each time you need to work with it. And that is very challenging.
Cemeteries in Tunisia between the heritage and the valorization. So it is important to tackle this topic in a very comprehensive way. Cemeteries have always been a very interesting topic in heritage, and especially in cultural heritage. The studies show the importance in so many areas. The word and the realm of death is sometimes overlooked, and the first studies showed that the cemeteries and the cemetery heritage is focalized on some antique periods of time. They were undertaken by historians, archaeologists, and so on and so forth. Our work, which is the first step for a global project on a long period of time, which is aiming at rethinking this heritage with all its origins and characteristics. That's why we suggest to achieve an interactive map that retraces the different cemeteries in Tunisia. First and foremost, we have started to identify these areas that are loaded with historical backgrounds and historical features. There is a query, there is a survey on the field that was launched to retrace the geographical division of cemeteries in the Jewish community. Nevertheless, the discrepancy of so many cemeteries and the statement of and the situation of so many cemeteries that degraded was a big bottleneck and a big obstacle. There is a digitization work that will be required in this study to create the map. Therefore, we will try to apply some techniques in data processing to get some mapping data. We have some preliminary data on cemeteries or Jewish cemeteries in Tunisia. The Jews call the cemeteries Beit al-Hayim, which means the life, the life of the dead. These cemeteries are made of a space for a burial of dead people or dead bodies that is processed at this area. And this is managed by a commission that is jointly taken care of by so many communities. The cemeteries became, over years, a very interesting milestone. We have three categories of cemeteries. We have plate tombs that we find in Nawel, Burjel, Sousse, and their size vary from a cemetery to another. The heritage of cemeteries became a very important part of the cultural heritage of the nations and civilizations, and it requires the notion of the cemeteries that became a milestone in the cultural heritage. Our valorization project of cemeteries through the new technologies is based on a mapping approach. The objectives are based on the following. The project is undertaken within a cemeteries heritage approach, which is based on the analysis of the state of play of cemeteries in Tunisia in general, and particularly the cemeteries of the minorities, which are characterized by a very sensitive situation. So many of them have disappeared, so many of them are in bad shape. And we are suggesting to resort to some geometric tools, and with the creation of maps, we can create some mapping documents through the new technologies in order to reproduce these documents and to help the to improve their situation and their statement. What are the steps to achieve this interactive map? There is a set of steps to do so. The first step is to target the cemetery. The second step is based on the documentation. The design of the geographical information system on cemeteries with introduction of so many features based on this heritage, including the photos, the postal cards, the plans, architectures, written documents. And the third step is based on the geometric part of the cemeteries, which is basically about creating a digital database. And we try to identify the cemeteries based on the different regions and areas And we will try to expand our survey, and we suggested to mention you cemeteries that were determined, and we will try to have a map about the different cemeteries that we have in Tunisia, and especially the ones that disappeared. The cemeteries that we have in Tunisia, at the beginning, we have the necropole of Guemri. At the beginning, we have the necropole of Guemri that highlighted the importance of this field of research. The Jew cemetery of Tunisia, between yesterday and tomorrow, yesterday and today, we can notice a change. And up to the 19th century, the Jews of Tunisia were buried in a cemetery that is specialized for Jews. And this is a map that shows the rabbis of the celebrities of Jews that were buried in some secret areas. And this is the garden that was transformed in 1959 to the cemetery of the Jews. We have another cemetery, namely the cemetery of Burjil, that undergo so many works and so many planning works. This cemetery is a very important landmark for Jews and for rabbis, for the rabbi. And there is a part that is dedicated to the Tunisian Jews, and there is a part that is dedicated for Christians. And we have pilgrimage that takes place every year within the framework of the cooperation of ASOR and our association in Manuba. We have so many photos that were taken by my colleague, Awatef, and all these cemeteries is the result of so many field surveys that we have undertaken in order to create a database about these cemeteries to provide an information system for this mapping. To conclude, this work is a preliminary step of an ambitious project on a category of the cultural heritage in Tunisia. It is about the cemeteries that existed in our history and our memory as well. The current approach is about the construction of and the establishment of a map on this heritage, trying to identify these areas that have the tendency to be forgotten. Some cemeteries disappeared and some are not in a good situation. And this explains how this mapping project will be of a paramount importance in order to valorize the practices that are related to this heritage. And that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Jamal Maghiouzi. I'm from Morocco, and I'm glad to be here with you. Today, I will talk about my experience with heritage preservation and intercultural dialogues. My talk will focus on my contribution to the efforts and the initiatives of the GER program, and ASOR Heritage Cultural Initiatives Program between 2021 and 2023. During my experience in HAF, I went to Taroudant and I collected ethnographic stories about religious and ethnic minorities, and I asked the locals about the memories of the Jewish community before their live in Morocco. After that, we shared those stories with the students, and we also facilitated a workshop about local social history and the cultural history as well. And we created some tools, and we watched together an Amazigh movie. It's not a whole movie, but it was an excerpt. And this movie teaches us the value of coexistence in harmony. And we also worked together with the teachers and the students, and we created Anzit magazine. Anzit is a squirrel, and it was about social and local social and cultural history of the religious and ethnic minorities. We also created a play, a pedagogical play about coexistence in harmony again, and it's based on the stories we collected previously. We also did some dialogues and some activities for adults, and we could join the local community in a village where they have a common cemetery. It's a Muslim Jewish common cemetery, and we could enjoy an intercultural and interreligious and intergenerational dialogue. When HAF and ASOR started a partnership, Dakira team benefited from a series of training. They were online and in-person ones. Because of this training, we could identify, evaluate, and map 535 sites in Morocco. And here are some examples of the sites I documented, like a Christian cemetery, a Jewish cemetery in Taroudant. And I also documented a local saint. Its name is Sidi Kush in Eghram Circle. And there was also a collective granary in Eghram, especially in Taroudant. So after the success of the previous training, ASOR provided another series of online and in-person training. And here are Dakira and HAF team providing in-person training. And we practiced this training in the Church of Taroudant. As you can see, the priest Mark is talking to the participants, and the participant had the chance to visit the church, including the mass, and we also enjoyed the invitation of having couscous in the church. It was the idea of the priest Mark. In the summer of 2023, we had the chance to invite the Jewish community and the Muslim community in Arazan to have a cultural dialogue. So, as you see, we used this item to facilitate the dialogue between the communities. And in this photo, you can see the hand of Fatima and the candle. We basically ask the members or the participants from both communities how this is used in in their communities. So we after this, you can also see a Moroccan rabbi talking to the audience, and we also enjoyed dancing to the local music. And after this event, we meet some ambitious youths, and they got an online training and in-person training. And they by themselves, they provide another training, or they introduced the documentation of heritage to the communities of Christian, Muslim, and Jewish community. And we practiced this together in the Christian cemetery and the Jewish cemetery in Agadir. We also had the chance to explore the synagogue in Agadir, and we also had the chance to have a supper together. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention, and please feel free to ask any questions you may need. Thank you.
Hello, I am Abdelkarim. I will be speaking about the tangible heritage of Morocco, preserving Morocco's tangible heritage. Our presentation is about the site assessment and the mapping efforts by the High Atlas Foundation and the American Society of Overseas Research, ASOR. The High Atlas Foundation was founded in 2021, and ASOR actually funded this foundation to work on several objectives. Some of them are related to training local communities and ethnic and religious minorities, to document their culture, awareness, and to raise their awareness and to support them, to conduct several works and activities, also digitalizing this work, in addition to bringing aboard all of those activities and efforts. So we started working on documenting culture or cultural heritage. Also, then we will show you the work we did with the Ubu Toolbox, QGIS, AGSoft MetaShape, Lebricad. We will be talking also about the awareness raising activities that were achieved, in addition to the great work we have achieved in terms of strengthening the community and local relations with the government, and also on the local, national, and regional levels. Our first objective we worked on was related to documentation of cultural heritage. 7 people from HAF were trained. I was one of them. And then we have had several training programs to work on, with open source softwares to document cultural heritage of Morocco. 15 people from Jews in Morocco, 13 people from Amazigh Berber community in Morocco as well, and also 22 students, male and female, from Ibn Zohr University, and 38 people from civil society, local civil society activists in As-Sawira city. These training programs, we use the Kobo toolbox to collect the information. Then we use the QGIS for mapping. Then photogrammetry was used to scan. And then 2D drawing was done using LibreCAD. This work is clear in some of these pictures. In this slide, as you can see, these pictures were during the training programs. Some of these pictures were in the theoretical component, others were in the practical component. With regards to the second objective related to documenting cultural heritage sites, 235 locations were documented so far nationwide. 79% of them are Jews or of a Jew nature. 15% of them is of Christian nature, and 6% of them is related to 6% of them is related to Amazigh community. This shows also the QGIS work, where we synchronized the work from constant maps, where we could use them for reporting. And the work in this group was mainly related to a national strategy, a national approach we want to use. And we also worked on districts and locations where the work continues to be distributed to lower levels. We have this interactive map where you can see through this website, where you can actually use these maps to clarify all of these, or to identify all of these locations. And every location you find, you will find full information about it. when we did these forms and templates to collect information and data. Also, we also had hyperlinks for the pictures we took there. And you can also add links for blogs or articles that are done for these websites, for these sites, locations. We have done the same for each location. We documented around the country. And all of these locations were documented with pictures, as you can see. And you can also add hyperlinks for 3D models to this map. Afterwards, after all of this work, we found some statistics that was a result of this work. We found many indicators, if we may say, related to accessibility to these locations, the status quo of these locations, visiting the locations, if you need a permit or not, etc. After all of this work, we chose 5 sites to work on them closely, or with more interest and more details. Of course, they were using these examples to have something something that looks more of an archive where we could actually use it in the future to document this work in a proper way. And here you can see these 3D designs for these graveyards and tombs, and also to show the current situation, the status quo of these places. You can see these 3D models. You can have it for a building as well. This is a tomb, by the way, one of the Jewish tombs in this neat village. And this is also another one for a Jew's tomb in Al-Hawz region. This is a 3D model. You can actually see the location now. Now you have an idea about it. This tomb is there. We have it in the interactive map. Many people from anywhere and even other countries can actually have a virtual tour in this place to look into it, to make a decision about visiting it or not. Same 5 locations were worked on with 5 drawings, 2D drawings. These pictures show you the dimensions and the sizes of these sites. that were drawn here in these pictures, as you can see. And these drawings are actually 2D models of the Rabbi David Hassan. Also, we had plenty of articles that were publicly shared online. Some of them were already included or embedded within the interactive map. Many other articles were actually discussed and revised and about to be posted in the future. With regards to facilitating the communication between the local communities and the general authorities, there were a lot of activities conducted with or between both local authorities and the local communities, in addition to having many awareness activities, awareness raising activities here and there. In Wajda and Fas cities, with the legal clinic students who were from Marrakesh City University. All of these activities were a one full day program discussing culture, heritage, and also visits for minority-related occasions. In addition to roundtables to discuss how to preserve this cultural heritage, and then to discuss the work that was achieved by us in partnership with ASOR with regards to enhancing the relations on the community level with the governmental level. There were many meetings with officials. Some of them were previous or former ministers, and others were leaders for minority groups or of minority groups. We provided them with a conclusion and a list of recommendations with many reports and information to use. At the end, I would like to thank you very much for listening and for your attentiveness. I'm looking forward to meet you later today, 12th of April, to discuss more if you have any questions. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. As part of the ASOR initiatives and efforts, I assisted in initiating 10 suitcase museums that spread the culture of coexistence and living in peace, known by the Moroccans as Lassaad. It means that Morocco is home. Or what is a suitcase museum? Suitcase museum is a suitcase that can be moved from one place to another in an easy manner, that contains some museum tools and material related to tools and working on museums. We have examples at the Casablanca Suitcase Museum and the Argan Suitcase Museum. What are the goals of suitcase museums? The aims of it is to bring the youth and children closer to the cultural heritage and linking the heritage with schools and the cultural centers to explain heritage in a simple manner and delivering this information in a simple manner to activate via content and enhance the confidence in oneself by shedding light on cultural heritage. These are some of the aims. How was the start of this experience? For everything, there's always a beginning, as they say. The idea came out of the ASOR meeting and then the presentation from Jamal Maghiouzi and the success that they received in Libya and the success that Jamal Maghiouzi achieved in Libya, especially in light of the critical circumstances in Libya. So I liked the idea and I presented it in the universities in Morocco and for the Heritage Club in Morocco, and the Heritage Club were very excited and they asked some explanations and they had some queries and we answered them with the assistance of ASOR, and we conducted a presentation on Casablanca and the coexistence in Casablanca for centuries now, and the historic roots of this area, which is before Christ. This photo documents the beginning of the experience and the Cultural Heritage Club and the enthusiasm. And this is Hanan Shah attending, and we have the principal, the dean of the college, and we have all the class and all the staff with us. And this is the beginning of the experience of suitcase museums in the market. And with the assistance of ASOR and the support of ASOR, we established 10 suitcase museums. First of all, which was regarding the costumes of the Amazigh minority and the coexistence suitcase in the city of Suera, and the suitcase regarding the Jewish minorities in the desert, and the suitcase museums regarding the Suera and its region, and the suitcase regarding mosaic and the suitcase regarding the snow in these areas, and the suitcase regarding Ma'asharin minority, which is the coexistence between the Amazigh and the Jewish cultures, and the tree of Argan suitcase, the Argan tree suitcase, and the suitcase regarding the traditional Jewish handmade material, and a suitcase regarding coexistence in harmony in all of Morocco, and suitcase regarding Casablanca. All of these suitcases were established by ASOR, and we thank them greatly for that. And to utilize and maximize the benefits of suitcase museums, we conducted a few cultural activities in a number of primary schools and cultural centers. For example, reactivating the cultural dialogue in primary schools in the month of culture from 18th of April to the 18th of May in 2023. And we presented the suitcase museums to the students, and they were very, very pleased with what they saw. And they were pleased to know the traditional and historic roots of Casablanca, and they thought it was a modern city, but they realized it was a very ancient city. And in the framework of cultural reactivation and enhancing the cultural activities, we conducted a few activities in the cultural center of Light Malul, and we presented a suitcase for them. regarding argan tree, which is existent heavily in the region, and the benefits of the oil of argan, and that it is one of the intangible material heritage of Morocco. And we raised awareness on the importance of tangible and intangible heritage alike. These photos documents a workshop that I conducted to the primary school students and to the cultural center, as I mentioned. And one of the most important points in our experience was a unique experience, which is introducing the suitcase museums for the youth camps, the summer youth camps, and the youth who attended the summer youth camps, and to include it in the program of the summer activities in these camps. And this gathering was attended by the heads of the youth camps and the facilitators of the activities in the youth camps. And they were very impressed by what they saw, and we gave each one of them a new idea so that they can prepare a suitcase, a new suitcase oriented to primary school children. This experience was introduced in a suitcase of Jewish traditional. And the heads of the youth camps were very impressed by what they saw, and I was very impressed on the other hand by their input and a suitcase, the proposed suitcase for the other costumes for other minorities. This photo documents the sharing of the suitcase museum experience between different summer youth camps, as I aforementioned in the previous slide. And they gave new ideas, which in turn really illustrated the importance of suitcase museums, and that they can implement other suitcase museums easily, and that they can get very fruitful results regarding the school-oriented suitcase museums, and to take into consideration the variables of suitcase museums and how do we introduce them to different minorities, for instance. And finally, one of the initial results that we got via the suitcase museum experience, we mentioned the linking of the historic roots of Casablanca with the primary school children. And that was very important. And finally, regarding the future horizon and what we have in hand for the future, we will work on new suitcases oriented to different cultural minorities. For instance, we will conduct a few activities in schools and in cultural centers in the cultural month in Morocco, and we will initiate a new suitcase regarding the Tborifa minority and their costumes, and we will have assistance by UNESCO and ASOR, and we will be doing this suitcase that in a manner that will be oriented towards primary school children. And we always seek to go to new schools and spread the awareness of the cultural heritage and how to link it with the modern day. And how do we share our knowledge with the other school children? And how do we initiate new suitcase museums? And this will all be conducted hopefully in July of this year. We seek that these activities are among the official activities of these school children. So that we can raise awareness on our cultural heritage in Morocco and the unique manner or the unique status of the cultural heritage in Morocco, and to teach them how to establish a toothpaste museum with very simple tools, and so that we can spread our culture even more and more, and we can target more children. I hope sharing the experience of Suitcase Museums was beneficial to you all and gave you new ideas. Thank you very much for your attentive listening.
Hi, I will be presenting to you this Amazigh culture presentation under ASOR work in Tunisia. Assia Sabri, Ibtissem Sabri, and Belgacem Guemri are working on this presentation, or have worked on this presentation. This is only an introduction to the documentation of this work. And we hope to have more work in the future in this regard. We need to make sure that this continues to have more importance going forward until we have it become a necessity and a priority. Exposure to this work showed us that libraries in Tunisia are they actually lack plenty of information about these topics. Tunisia is Nista in Amazigh language, and it means the key to the African continent. And the area called Douerat, the village or the town of Douerat, is named by the fortified village, or it was called historically with the name of the fortified village, and it is actually a word that means it is actually a place where the inhabitants are called, are a tribe called Tidrit in Amazigh, and it means the people of the house, basically. This area is full of these houses that were engraved into mountains. There is only a Nakhla mosque. There are other mosques that are actually in a poor state. There are two hotels that were renovated to be able to receive people, visitors, and tourists. Here you can see the top of the palace, and then you go down, you see the ruins and what's left of these houses. You can see also the sunset with, this is the sunset with some of the houses that were that are still there. These two pictures can tell you about the hotels as well. Hotel Hasna, it's this one, and another one called Raouf, one on the left, one on the right. And these two hotels actually receive tourists. In this video, you can see how poor these houses are. They are literally neglected at the moment. Dwirat is one of the examples of fortified villages in Tatawin. Tens of these locations were in a poor situation and no preservation or protection whatsoever was provided. And also, since ASOR came in 2022 and started to work on this place, we managed to document plenty of locations, palaces, and also some literally forgotten venues and sites. So we have provided through ASOR plenty of training programs on documentation, and also the other programs like Kubo Collect and also QGIS, photogrammetry, and 3D modeling. We also provided them with tablets, sorry, and also cameras. All of these training programs were actually done online via Zoom and also in the field. The one you can see in the pictures on the left was done in Tatawin, and the one on the right was in the field. After the field visits and search using technology to have professional pictures to document houses, buildings, palaces, rooms, etc., and even some tombs. We managed to have more than 60 different locations in both Tatawin and Medellin states. Also, ASOR provided certificates for all the participants. Assia, Sabri on the left, Belgacem, Guemri on the right, both of them showing their certificates. ASOR did not stop there with training only. They also provided us with a lab to help us continue the work even after ASOR finished their work in Tunisia. This location is related to the place of this lab is actually hosted by a society called Collective of Dwirat Women. This lab can actually process drawings, maps, and models for the area and also for Tunisia, the country. Also, we managed to have 3D models. Also, you see it in the bottom left of the picture, Al-Karma Mosque. The picture above is, or up of the picture is the real picture. And the one in the bottom is basically a 3D model. Here, you can see the oil production factory or tools for olive oil. We made this drawing through LibriCAD software. With this technical lab, we have been able to reach the highest spot of Dwirat Palace. And despite the fact that the place is actually good when it comes to visits, but unfortunately, most of those tourists and visitors actually pass by this location without knowing its value. Now they know very well its value, and they have better accessibility to it. So we made it clear where we need to have certain points clear to have a touristic path. So the main entrance, the gathering point, and also the places you need to meet, or you need to see, basically. So these are 3 landmarks in the pictures. We also have a QGIS map where you should go on what you should do in this location. We made it clear that these locations are very important in the pictures. ASOR told us that in order to be able to renovate our palace, we need to have professional pictures, architectural surveys, drawings, and maps. Now we are preparing a comprehensive file for a Dueret palace. We want to find a way to present it. We are a small group from Tatawin. Would never thought that we could have all the abilities and the technical skills, let alone being able to take care of this work by ourselves. So we are very grateful to ASOR. We will be showing you Dueret when you visit us. We will surely invite you to our couscous dish in Dueret. Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure.
Good evening, everyone. My presentation will be on the Ibadi mosques in Jirba, a heritage that is going towards extinction. Jirba is very famous for, as a touristic destination, the beautiful island, but nevertheless, a lot of its heritage, cultural heritage is being lost and going towards extinct. Regardless of the fact that many of its sites were registered by UNESCO. It's a unique agricultural heritage in Jirba. We have oil presses, we have the textile industry heritage, we have the ancient shops, but we are losing this agricultural heritage day by day. Every day the stones are falling and we are losing walls. My work with ASOR concentrated on documenting and taking 3D photographic photos of these sites, especially the ones that are in good condition, and we concentrated more on the ones that are in very bad condition and need urgent intervention. And amongst 293 mosques, the quarter of them are endangered. We documented 64 mosques that is in very critical condition, and we documented 20 other mosques that need urgent intervention. One of these mosques we will look at today because it has a unique agricultural status, and it's still it can still be maintained and renovated. We have the mosque, Guemri Mosque, the Hajar Mosque, the Hara Mosque, the Maris Mosque, the Adwi Mosque, and we will take the example of the Adwi Mosque. It is a mosque that has a relation to a famous religious personality. We can still renovate it and bring it back to its a good status because the walls are still standing. It has many writings on the wall that are important to the Amazighi heritage, for instance, in this mosque of Al-Bahroun, it is near Wadi Zbib, besides the mosque and school of Walhi. The roof has fallen, the ceiling has fallen, but the walls are still there and in good condition. So it can be renovated, and we need to work on the ceiling. This mosque, Mosque bin Maghiouzi, it is in the area of Mizraya, and it is dated back to 1496, and it is written in the letters of Hilati. It has been neglected, and in left at the state, we have the Mosque of Ben Yakhlif. It is beside the Mosque of Ben Qurban. It is in the municipality of Sabri, and it has been existent since 1664, and it has been neglected for a long time now. All we have left are the walls, but it still can be restored. And this is the Mosque of Guemri. It was one of the fortified mosques in the area of Assia, and it is in a status of advanced destruction, and it has been neglected for decades now. We have Masjid al-Hajar. It is another defensive fortified mosque, and it is in an advanced destructive condition. We have this mosque as well, the Mosque of Al-Fush. It is a rectangular mosque, 5 by 3 meters. It is a Wahbi mosque. The naming of it is related to a family or a religious personality. The status of this mosque has been demolished in many parts of it, but it can still be restored, and we have parts of the ceiling that are still there. We have the Mosque of Al-Hara in the area of Shat in Sidrikish. It is amongst a Romanian site. It is 8 by 8 meters. It is a Wahbi mosque dating back to the 14th century, and it is a strategic mosque, and it has classes, so it has been used as a school as well. And this is the other mosque in the Raqqa area. It is 4 by 4 meters. It is a Wahbi mosque as well. It needs urgent intervention. It has many shelves that are still in good condition, so it needs intervention. It can be restored. We have the Warsigan Mosque. It is on the western coast of the Jirba Island. It is 9.5 by 10 meters. It has a long, tall walls, high walls. It has been looted, and the tombs have been digged, and the graves have been digged, and some bodies were taken out of it. The ceiling of this mosque has fallen completely. And these are some of the other neglected mosques in Wazirien. On the left of the slide, and on the right, it is another mosque that has been neglected. This is some restoration initiatives or some old restoration activities, but with no good results. And this is the Mosque of Ba'mur in Wazirien area. Finally, I thank you all for your attentive listening, and I hope that you benefited from these slides, and I hope for a better future regarding these heritage sites. I thank you all for your attentive listening, and now we open the floor for discussions and for the participants to put forward their questions, so we can refer them for them to be answered. Any questions from the floor?
Hi, Ratiba. Just a reminder, if you look in the Q&A, there are some questions that you can bring up there.
I cannot hear you, Ratiba. I cannot hear you. Thank you very much. There have been a number of questions that have been put forward. I will try to collect them. There's a question or three questions from William Renault. The first question is referred to Ms. Awatef from Tunisia, and that is regarding the documentation of the Jewish cemeteries. And did you document other Jewish cemeteries? And what are your recommendations regarding another question by William Renault, and it is referred to Lassaad, and it is regarding how can we involve more organizations and more volunteers to support you in your work regarding this heritage map or cultural heritage map on Jewish minorities, and that can be utilized and exploited as destinations for tourism. And another question by William, and it is referred to myself, and it's regarding suitcase museums. Are there any other donations or supports by other operators or organizations to establish more suitcase museums? There's another question from Ms. Awatef and Ms. Lassaad and Ms. Nawel regarding the question is, what are the discussions that took place and that you conducted with the locals or homelanders to preserve the heritage of these minorities in Tunisia? And another question, this I don't know who is it referred to. It is regarding documenting and preserving heritage in Tunisia and Morocco. Are there common challenges between both countries? And is there dialogue and partnership and cooperation between working groups and the homelanders? And how can we improve this situation? These are some of the questions, and hoping that we can receive more questions while we answer the current questions. And I urge you to pose more questions to us as an initial stage. So we'll start answering these questions first. Can we answer? The speaker is asking, the other speaker. Regarding the Ratiba is asking her to introduce. I'm Awatef Bahroun, a PhD student. I'm working on the Jewish heritage in Tunisia and the southern region on special emphasis on the southern region. I worked on Jewish cemetery in Suleiman city, and my intervention and presentation was regarding that and my experience on documenting this cemetery. And we established a detailed work on these cemeteries. We took all the measurements of the graves, and we identified the families and the kinds of the subscriptions. And regarding the other cemeteries that are existent all over the Tunisian land, we did not document them, but we need to document them because they are endangered, like the Suleiman cemetery in Suleiman city. I visited the Qayrawan cemetery. It is there's still some remains and ruins of graves that are still in quite adequate condition. there is no looting or extravagating activities such that happened in or occurred in Suleiman Cemetery. In Medellin, there was no study on the cemetery in Medellin, in Qayrawan. All these cemeteries have not been studied thoroughly. There are a number of Jewish cemeteries in Tunisia that have not been documented, unfortunately. Bearing in mind that ASOR is the only organization that documented and studied deeply these cemetery, the Jewish cemetery in Suleiman City, even in the old documents in the Tunisian archives. I did not find a study on this cemetery or any referral or reference to the Jewish cemetery in Suleiman. I thank you for your kind intervention, Ms. Awatef.
Hello, if I may answer the two questions that were asked for our communication or our presentation, Dandani. In fact, I don't know if you can hear me well. Yes, we can hear you well. Thank you. Thank you. I would like to thank you for inviting me to this webinar to participate in such debates around Tunisia. So the first question was asked by Mr. Will regarding our presentation. But as we are running out of time, I was compelled to give just a summary about our project. We were creating an interactive map in order to identify, as said Awatef, to identify all the cemeteries that we have in Tunisia and to bring together all the information and data that we can have over these cemeteries. The project is still in the first steps, and we have collaborated with so many players, since this is a colossal project that cannot be done only with our own means. We are open to any collaboration, to any partnership in order to enrich our work at the level of the setup of the mapping, in order to include all the information, geographical data, and the mapping data for the documentation purposes, and in order to preserve this heritage. In fact, this work cannot be done without resorting to the local players, regardless of these players, whether on the minorities, Jewish minorities, or other minorities, especially the Jewish minorities. And we need to keep strong links with the local community in order to get information and data. And this is a great opportunity in order to enrich the memory around this heritage. Our main concern is how we can achieve an interactive map in order to identify all the cemeteries in their current state and to seek some means from the decision makers in order to save and to restore this heritage, and to control as well the state of this heritage, since we have so many interventions at this regard. Thank you very much.
So with regards to the challenges you have faced in preserving the culture, I will give the floor to Mr. Abdelkarim. Welcome, everyone. So for us, the challenges we have faced during the documentation work in Morocco was mainly related to getting licenses and approvals to access several sites, especially those related to minorities. So most of the minorities sites in Morocco are actually looked after by the state with security guards and all of that. So we always needed to have prior approval, and it was a challenge because we always faced problems. Even when we get the approvals, we can't get, we have only the approval to visit, but we cannot really document it. It's not so easy to do so. So it was really challenging and full of challenges, to be honest, in the field work. Thank you. Is there a cooperation, Mr. Abdelkarim, between the working groups? If you allow me to ask. For now, to be honest, as far as I know, there's no real cooperation. Only with Mr. Jamal, who was one of the coordinators, cultural coordinators in the Atlas Foundation, High Atlas Foundation. We have communicated with Jamal. We kept this communication going. And that's mainly the work we have done. So I am only in direct contact with Mr. Jamal. Thank you. I give the floor to Mr. Jamal Eddine now. We give the floor to Mr. Jamal Eddine now. We can't hear you clearly. Sorry, Mr. Jamal, we cannot hear you clearly. Okay, so we give the floor to Mr. Jamal Maghiouzi. Hello, everyone. I would like to give one sign here or indicator to the question that was given to me regarding the interaction of the local communities. With regards to Herodant, there was a cultural dialogue between the members of High Atlas Foundation and also the local communities, and also the villages, habitants, especially the joint cemetery between Muslims and Jews. In this cultural dialogue, what we found is that the area there is moved or transformed to use it for planting trees. And with regards to the interaction between ASOR and High Atlas Foundation, we can say that the local communities with the two foundations or societies, there was a great work with the church as well. There was a suggestion or a proposal in order to work on a few points where the church could contribute to this cultural heritage or cultural dialogue, where the religious minorities will also be able to have a say in this manner. Thank you. So another question on this question is to Assia and Ibtissem, Sabri and Belgacem Guemri regarding have you done any comparative have you done any Madam Assia, Ibtissem, and also Mr. Belgacem. So have you done any comparative studies between the ancient palaces in Tatooine and those in Nafusa Mountains in Libya, because they have a very similar architecture according to the picture we've seen? Yes, exactly, that's the question. So Nafusa Mountain and Tatooine, it was basically under the same governor at some time in the history, and we all know that it is more or less of the same history and culture. There are many things that are actually very similar, especially with regards to warehousing and building as well. Other palaces are quite different, though. Some of the mountain villages are building in different ways. So in Libya, as much as there are similarities, but we have done some research, and there is a Al-Hdada Palace, Awlad Sultan Palace, Al-Mgebla Palace, and also the Nata Palace that goes back to 500 years Hijri in Tatooine. It was basically very similar to Tatooine at that time, but at the moment there are many differences as well. It's not really identical, but there are similarities for sure. Thank you. So we'll give the floor to Mr. Jamaluddin Saidane now. Jamaluddin bin Saidane, pardon.
I would like to answer a question regarding the dealing with different initiatives in different countries, because locally we have different stakeholders and they're all dealing with their surroundings. For example, in Cartagena organization in Tunisia, we are working with stakeholders in the University of Manuba and other stakeholders working on the same project. In other communities that have the same project, we have collaboration with our counterparts in Libya, and we conducted the joint workshops. We realized the importance of the work in Libya. And today was an opportunity to discover the work that's occurred in Morocco, and maybe this is a start of a new collaboration between us and the colleagues in Morocco, because we share the same region, we share the same heritage. So this is an opportunity for these projects to open more horizons for future collaboration. between organizations and different stakeholders in our different countries, because at the end of the day, we share so many common grounds, and we share the same goals. This is why I wanted to intervene. There is a question towards Mr. Abdelkarim. It is regarding the question that states, are the Jewish synagogues that were documented and that were shot by 3D photos and that we can see on the internet, can these synagogues be visited, and can we observe the photos of the graves and the tombs and and the writing that was written in Jewish and in Jewish calligraphy, and that were written in Hebrew language? Regarding what was done until today, it is the work of linking the documents and posting them on the internet. The walls, you can see them on the internet. The photos of them, you can see them on the internet. But until today, they are not accessible for the public because it still needs some additions, some articles to verify some data and information, and to deal with some other 3D models regarding the map as well. And at the same time, what the delay was due to, and the delay of posting the photos on the website is some bureaucratic difficulties, but we are preparing currently to post the map with all its data and information and the links that we can attach to this map on the internet. But until today, it is not accessible to the public. But very soon, you will be able to access it easily on the website. You can discover all the attachments of the map. Thank you, Mr. Abdelkarim. The same question, Dandani wants to answer the same question. The floor is yours, Mr. Dandani.
Thank you. I just want to provide a comment on what Mr. Abdelkarim has just said, and Mr. Jamel, regarding the achievement and the progress of the mapping. Maybe you have some issues at the level of Mr. Abdelkarim with regard to the achievement, the finalization of these maps, but maybe our work will help to the achievement of an interactive map, which will serve a database, a real-time database that will show the state of all the sites in order to interact with the local communities so that they can provide their feedbacks and participate actively to preserve this heritage. This is technical information that I wanted to share with you because it is possible to make this available for everyone and to make it interactive. Thank you.
Sabri. Yes, we in the group conducted many works. We conducted cultural activities and we conducted or we held workshops on the daily life and simulations of the daily life of the rural women, the Amazigh rural women. And there was a reactivation of the life in the old city of Duerat. And we conducted many workshops to the children and some cultural activities such as the local traditional music. We conducted the style workshop and the textile workshop and the wool workshop, and we documented with a number of youth to document many sites in Duerat, such as the religious man, the Holy Man tomb, and the castle and the olive oil presses in Duerat, and the caves, the neglected caves in Duerat, and some of them were transformed to small motels, such as the organization of Raouf. There was also a number of participants, a number of 25 participants from the Duerat youth, from young men and young ladies. And this is a brief summary of some of the activities we held and participated in to raise awareness and to send a message, distribute a message to all the Amazigh minority in Duerat and the other regions, such as the southeast of Tunis and the north of Tunisia as well. We sent a message that Duerat is still alive and still holds its cultural heritage and tangible and intangible heritage. Thank you. Now we give the floor to Safouane. Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you clearly. Regarding documenting the body mosques in Jerba, we did not find challenges related to the human beings there, to the people there. We are a small island. We all know each other. There's a joke. We found more difficulties from the stray dogs that we found, not the humans. So the humans were all collaborative. And the other challenges was documenting documenting cemeteries from the African minorities. There were aggressive questions of why are you here documenting cemeteries. Another challenge was the synergy between some stakeholders and some of the activities by the local university, because every summer they restore a mosque, but this is a good initiative from the society and the university to restore some of the sites and to restore this agricultural heritage, this unique agricultural heritage. Thank you very much.
Unfortunately, we need to stop here.
Okay.
Okay.
I apologize, Awatef. We can get your question added to the recording.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
So I just want to thank everyone again. Thank you to our presenters, and thank you to all of our participants, as well as all of our translators. This is not easy work. So we very much appreciate everyone's participation and efforts in this. And I encourage you to please join us tomorrow for the final day of the event on the Sahel. And if you're interested in learning more information, there is a link to a sign up to do so in the chat. So thank you again, everyone. Thank you, Ratiba. And we hope to see you all tomorrow.
Salam.